Good morning, everyone, and I'm very pleased to be here to talk to you about effective communication with your beneficiaries. I come from the advertising world. My whole background has been in doing TV commercials and campaigns, and I do have some experience with NGO work, so hopefully I can share some interesting insights with you that will help you. So the first thing we look at is the challenge that you face. And for people trying to put out messages for public awareness and for good causes these days, the challenge is that it's a jungle out there. There are many sort of NGOs and campaigns running which are, showing to the public every day. So they're sort of bombarded by this. And I've got a few examples here, which I've just sort of picked out randomly, but they give you an idea that, many charities are around, they're all trying to target the public, and they're all appealing for share of voice. So this is your challenge, okay? It's a crowded media environment, and there are many people in your position trying to find space. This has an effect on the audience because the audience is indifferent to a lot of what they see. And whether that's just people in the street who are kind of coming to them, to donate, or whether it's awarenesses they see on TV or on the internet, they become a bit immune to the messages you're putting out. So that means that you've got to work a lot harder to actually get their attention and convince them. So how? How can you be clear and effective in getting that message out there? And that's what I hope to be able to explore with you today. How can you distinguish your brand from the others? And if you look at it from the perspective of the public, you can understand why they sometimes can't tell the difference. So for different organizations like UNICEF or Save the Children, or let's say Orbis, the awareness is strong, because those are global brands and they're sort of well known. But even to the public, they sometimes can't tell the difference. So you have to work harder to help them understand, who are you? What's your voice in all this? And then how can you create compelling stories that will engage and encourage response from the audience that you're trying to target? And hopefully this is something that we can look into. One of the first things you've got to think about is give them a reason, okay? Give them a reason that they should be interested, give them a reason why they should believe, and give them a reason why they should maybe want to get involved and help in some way. Convene and convert. Draw them to your message, draw them to your organization, get them interested in your organization, and hopefully you can begin to then convert them into advocates or into people that might want to do something to help you. You've also got to work harder to build an emotional connection. And I've seen with a lot of charity campaigns over the years, they think it's enough to show the problem. You show the problem, people are going to sort of feel touched and they're going to want to help. But that doesn't always work, because if they are disconnected, if it's somewhere remote and it's somewhere else in the world, maybe that's not going to appeal to them. Sometimes if it's closer to home, it does. Or if it's something that's affected them personally in their own family or whatever. If you look at cancer, for example, cancer affects everybody in some way, indirectly or directly. So it's much easier to sort of get an emotional connection there. But it might be harder if you're dealing with, say, an environmental cause. And there are people that already are advocates of getting behind helping the environment, helping the planet. But there's a lot that maybe don't take a lot of interest in it. So you've got to work harder with whatever you do in communications to build that emotional connection and create empathy. Make them feel that they're a part of it, make them feel connected to the story that you're trying to tell so that they can relate to it. And maybe then they will become advocates and help you to spread your message. Most of all, and this is where I'm going to get down to some sort of examples today, is to be creative. And that's when sometimes companies, brands, clients come to someone like me because they're looking for ideas to be creative. What is creative? Creative is, you could look up dictionary definitions, but it's really solving old problems in new ways. So every time we sit down to look at a problem that's put to us for a client, that's a problem that probably lots of people have come across over the years and tried to solve the challenges. We have to find a new way of doing it. And actually, this is where I find a lot of advertising that you see around you every day fails, because it's not creative. You just have to walk around you and look around on the MTR or in public. How many messages actually catch your eye and involve you and sort of strike out at you? There's not many. A lot of them look the same, they act the same, they're designed the same, and they're carrying the same messages. So it's important to be creative, and it's especially important for you to be creative in order to sort of stand out in the jungle of messages. So we start with the message. What is your story? You have to look at your organization, look at your cause, and think, what's the story that you want to tell? Now, that story doesn't literally have to be a specific story, but it's the story behind why you're trying to do what you're trying to do. So that's the first thing for you to explore, is to figure out what's the story that you're trying to tell about the work that you do.